Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
We will talk about the first tranche of the government's economic package or bailout package or stimulus today. Not in so much detail there because you've been hearing more about that from Ella Patnaik, who's a noted economist and exclusive columnist with us. She's spoken out live answering your questions in English and in Hindi. And really, I can't add any more wisdom to it than she's done. But I'll talk about this very briefly and tell you about a couple of points that come to my mind. And as more tranches come, we'll talk in more detail because this is now unfolding like a 5-day cricket test match. So we play it session by session or day by day. And we will talk again briefly about one aspect of India's coronavirus fight, which it looks like is not looking satisfactory, which is beginning to look problematic and confused. So let me start with the first Nirmala Sitharaman press conference today. Now, you might have seen that when she listed all the 15 steps in the first tranche, people were counting from how do we account for that 20 lakh crore package that Narendra Modi spoke about earlier yesterday. So the idea was that he said 10% of GDP, where is that money? Already there was some suspicion that, oh, he's also counting in money that RBI has released, because that is not something that's gone from the government. And no government counts its central bank's liquidity or the liquidity they release as a kind of stimulus from the government. Nevertheless, those are academic arguments. All the 15 steps announced today, if you look at them carefully, they don't require the government to spare one extra rupee. Not even one extra rupee. Am I upset about it? Am I complaining about it? No, I am happy to surprise you, or maybe you are not happy to see me surprise you, but I am happy to surprise you that so far so good. Government has not given any indication that it's going to do something really reckless and start printing money. Generally, these are steps you can't argue with. These are steps to increase the supply of money in the hands of essentially micro, small and medium industries. As you know, that their definition has been changed, which is a good thing. I wish it had been changed a bit more on the liberal side, which means instead of 5 crore investment, it should have been 50 crore investment, because that's also small these days. Indian companies, big companies are really big companies. Now, how come only this was mentioned today and there was no talk of government spending any money? That's because, as I said, this is like a 5-day cricket test match. This is like the opening session. As the good coaches say in the opening session, give the first hour to the bowler. So be safe in the first hour. So this first tranche has been on the safe side. That's why no talk of the government spending any money. There are loans, there are loan guarantees, there are deferrals of tax, there are deferrals of tax return filing. There are also promises that government will quickly pay you what it already owes you. That's by way of tax refunds, and that's by way of the money that it owes to MSMEs for services or goods provided by them. So this is basically saying that because I am so powerful, I am a monopoly buyer, right? I can take my time paying my vendors and leave them to twist in the wind. But because things are bad right now, I'll pay you right now. So ease that pain for you. So basically, I pay you what I owed you, but either because of my inefficiencies or my red tape, my procedures, or just simple old sarkari bloody mindedness, I wasn't paying you, I was taking my time paying you. Now I will pay you now, and similarly for tax refunds. But still, this will put money in the hands of people, so it's a good thing. Now, what do we anticipate going ahead? So remember the Prime Minister's words. If you look at this, if this was to be everything there is to a stimulus package, then I would have said this is a sham. This is a zero stimulus package, because this is not really a stimulus package. This is really improving governance at a certain level, and also allowing some deferrals. For example, it's been grandly said that another 50-60,000 crores will come in people's hands, because now if for professionals 100 rupees had to be deducted as TDS on some payment coming to them, now only 75 will have to be deducted. But it doesn't mean government will not take that money. Government will take that money from you by the end of the financial year. All it means is that it will not go right now, so you will have that money in your hands for a year. Now, what I believe, and we'll see in the next couple of days whether we are right or wrong, that the next tranches will talk about more direct government intervention and spending in certain areas. Because remember the Prime Minister's words. Once again, Prime Minister likes to give you 4 of this, 5 of that, ideally an acronym, even better an acronym which is also alliterative, right? So he listed 4 L's yesterday. 4 L's are land, labor, liquidity and laws, in that sequence. So what you've seen today is the point 3 in his list of 4 L's. That is liquidity. If you look at today's tranche, it was all about liquidity, from companies to real estate developers to power distribution companies which are bankrupt right now, which are having trouble paying power producers. So power producers are also bankrupt right now. It's also to give refunds to taxpayers, to give payments to vendors. So everything that's been done today is about liquidity. So I think you can then imagine that the next couple of rounds will be about laws, land, labor. Now laws, land, labor will not change immediately. Maybe there will be some ordinances and maybe there will be some announcements about the changes government is going to make. I suspect we'll see a bunch of ordinances in those areas. May not happen immediately because an ordinance has to go through processes of cabinet clearance, etc. But with this government, that really is a formality. In fact, it's not even something that's taken very seriously as a formality. So I see some changes there, but that will take time. Then the other list that the Prime Minister listed. So once again, read his words. Prime Minister's speeches, what he says these days, his announcements are a bit like the smiles of Mao Zedong in his glory days, which means that the morning Mao smiled, then everybody around Mao tried to interpret that smile. And like that, very cryptically or in semaphores or whatever sign language, he conveyed his mind. Deng Xiaoping followed a similar approach later. So he said a little thing and everybody followed. It doesn't matter whether a cat is black or white as long as it catches mice. Now you can interpret that to mean it doesn't matter where the money comes from or what produces wealth. It doesn't matter whether you do it through communism or capitalism as long as it produces wealth. So our Prime Minister also, given how powerful he is in this system, also speaks like that, and now we have sufficient body of evidence to tell us that. So the second list that he read out, he said following 5 pillars are the ones that India's economy or India's story rests on. So what are these 5 pillars? Economy, systems built on technology, these two are motherhood and apple pie. Infrastructure, democracy and demand. Once again, demography, I'd say motherhood and apple pie. So 2 operative things remain, infrastructure and demand. Now demand, one, today with liquidity, some of that will be addressed, or he would believe that some of that will be addressed, and he has addressed that in his view or in his government's view substantially. So that's important, but I think more will happen in that area by way of fueling demand. Now whether it comes through direct benefit transfers, more transfers to the poor, or through tax cuts at some levels, I don't know, but something might happen. But the important thing there, the most important pillar, and most important because that is the operative one, because their stuff will happen, that is infrastructure. So if that pillar is strengthened and moved to the center of this new edifice of a new India, then it opens up many possibilities. It opens up the possibility of job creation, growth, liquidity also, demand, and most importantly, that will also require government to spend money and raise money. And because of that, then you might have a plan also of raising of resources. So some of it might be wishful thinking, but I would say as we go ahead, once again, remember land, labor, liquidity laws. Liquidity only has been addressed today. The rest has to happen again. Economy, tech systems, infrastructure, demography, demand. 5 pillars. 1.5 is important. That is, infrastructure is 1 and demand is half because that is linked to infrastructure. So I think expect some major changes or major movements in those areas. Once again, nobody had expected that this government was going to print 20 lakh crore rupees and distribute them to fire up the economy, as some of the left economists, especially those with living in America, etc., had been suggesting 8% of GDP, 10% of GDP, just distribute it to the poor. That's not going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I would say with great humility that it's a good thing, because you don't want a government that starts spending recklessly and lands you up in the kind of mess that we landed in 1990, 1991 and had to go to the IMF. It's important at this point for a government to hold its nerve and do the right thing and not do the wrong things to buy immediate peace in panic. So far, so good. Second, very briefly, I will talk about some troublesome developments on the coronavirus front. Now, I don't know if you've been watching these, but I've been watching these US Senate hearings where all the top scientists of the US have been summoned. That is Dr. Fauci, Dr. Stephen Hahn. These people, one is the head of infectious diseases in all of America, top infectious diseases doctor, a legend. The other is the head of US FDA. Third is the head of US Center for Disease Control. And they've been questioned in detail. Questions of science, question of policy, question on detail. We haven't seen those guys in India, but we trust our doctors and we think that ICMR is the one, Indian Council of Medical Research. So we are glad and we feel comforted that this COVID fight has been handed over to them. But look at a few things that ICMR has done, and which is a really worrying thing for me. Now, I call it the ICMR yes, no, yes doctrine. I'm not even saying flip-flop, because flip-flop is only once. This is yes, no, yes. So flip-flop, flip, or yes, no, yes. So I will count 3 examples. As I keep saying in journalism, 3 example rule matters. So first, ICMR said we should do plasma treatment, plasma therapy. They applied to Drug Controller of India for clearance. They got clearance for plasma trials and plasma therapy and trials. They spread the word. Many hospitals started doing it. Delhi government started doing it. Delhi government has set up a very eminent panel under a very eminent doctor, Dr. S.K. Sareen, among the finest liver doctors anywhere in the world, and a very compassionate and very senior, very mature man. And they started this, and the 5 patients on whom they tried this got okay. Now 5 is a small sample, but along with that, many other states also started talking about it. Bombay started collecting blood from recovered patients. Delhi started collecting blood. In fact, a lot of the Tablighi Jamaat people went back and donated blood also. And I think that's when Arvind Kejriwal made that statement that blood has no religion, that now if the blood of recovered Muslim COVID patients can cure people who might not be Muslim, Hindus or whatever, it tells you that blood has no religion. I think that created a little political problem someplace. That's guesswork, but probably that's what happened. Immediately, we saw tweets from Health Minister Harshvardhan saying that this has not been cleared for treatment, this should not be done. Immediately, we had Health Ministry official in the press conference say, It is dangerous to do these things. This can endanger people's lives. This has not been cleared for treatment. You should stop doing it. And ICMR also concurred. So ICMR did not stand up for anything. So immediately everything stopped everywhere. And even the collection of blood for plasma banks also stopped. India now has nearly 25,000 recovered patients. You should by now have plasma banks in every blood group, including some for rare blood groups. But that process stopped because everybody panicked. Now, ICMR is saying they will now carry out plasma therapy trials on a large scale. So, yes, no, yes, no reason given. Second, pool testing. Initially, ICMR said now you should do pool testing. In one Cut the Clutter, we also spoke about pool testing. That is, you take samples from a bunch of people, test it. These tests are very sensitive. If you find it's negative, that means all these people are clear. You don't have to waste so many tests. If you find that it's positive, then you've also taken parallel samples from them separately. So you can start testing them one by one. They said start pool testing. Many governments announced, UP announced they were going to start pool testing. Maharashtra announced pool testing. That would have helped in containment zones and high-risk areas. But then suddenly ICMR said, don't do pool testing. Now ICMR yesterday issued a notification on how they will carry out a serological survey of the COVID situation across India in so many districts, and they are going to use pool testing. So yes, no explanation given. Number 3, ICMR first said antibody testing because these are quicker, this will help you clear people, you will know who has antibodies. Not only did they clear it, they imported antibody kits. They imported antibody kits and then stuff hit the fan, stuff that I can't, the exact description of which I can't mention on camera. So stuff hit the fan. You know what kind of stuff hits the fan? That spreads some stink. So stink spread because Delhi High Court discovered that there was a large profit being made on the purchase of those kits, and perhaps likely the purchase of those kits was not properly made. That happened and that spread panic, and I think that is the reason that suddenly it was declared that those kits were all faulty, and India did not need, not only India did not need those kits, but India needed no antibody kits. So everybody stopped doing antibody tests. So antibody tests stopped. Now what is happening? Again, see this ICMR protocol for their serological survey. Everybody will be given antibody tests also. So once again, yes, no, yes. Now, if politicians do it, you expect it from them, right? Politicians can do anything. They can signal, turn to the left and turn right also. Why? Because they are politicians. If bureaucrats do it, you can still understand it because bureaucrats' essential trait is not to take decisions but follow directions from the politicians. So if the politician says signal a left turn but turn right, it's perfectly expected that the civil servant or the bureaucrat will also do it. But for people of science to do this, and it's such quick succession in such short time, yes, no, yes, and this is something you should do it, you must not do it, but I will do it now. Time is lost, opportunity is lost, India has suffered, and in the process I have to say this very regretfully that the great institution of Indian Council of Medical Research has also suffered a great deal. So we don't want an institution like that to suffer this damage. So this is the time to do damage control. I will talk about this more later in the week. I might even focus on this in this week's national interest. So having said that, now about 10 days back, I had told you that soon enough we will ask you, we will request you to start making some contributions to us. We told you that we are not going behind a paywall because we want a large number of you reading us, watching us. It costs us a lot of money to be doing what we are doing. We have reporters now traveling all over the country. We have sent out more reporters and deeper into the country than any other news organization in the country. And these are all very young reporters. You can read their bylines, you see their videos all the time on our platform. So now this evening we are putting out an appeal. You will find an appeal and a form on our website, and we'll give you links on all our social media handles. So please go there and please think of making a contribution, because you know what? To keep news free, to keep journalism free, you have to also start paying for news, because there is no way news can be brought to you free all the time and still remain free, because news will have to pay for itself in some way, someplace. So I'm counting on you and your goodwill, and I'm counting on the fact that you are wonderful readers, viewers, watchers. So thank you very much.